Welcome to Here Comes the Boom, a KSR and KSR Plus recruiting show covering all things Kentucky basketball recruiting. We've got a great show for you today. We've got a scout that covers international talent and U.S. talent coming on to talk about some of Kentucky's targets. But before we do that, be sure to go and subscribe to KSR Plus, subscribe to the KSR YouTube channel, and let's talk for a second about Nate Ament. He's still down to 5 schools. Kentucky, Louisville, Duke, Arkansas, and Tennessee, set to make his decision at the beginning of next month. Let's check and see what's going on over on his FanStake account, because Louisville still leads. They're almost double in Kentucky at $86,717. You got Kentucky right behind at $48,680. Be sure to go and take advantage of the 10 times boost. FanStake's going to match up to 10% of any stake up to $100. So be sure to go and take advantage of that. I'm now joined by Arman Jovic. He's a scout with PDT Scouting. We're going to talk about some international players and some U.S. players, some guys in the transfer portal. Arman, thanks for joining me today.
I'm glad you guys can invite me to do this. I'm very excited to do this.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw some names at you. I want to hear just what your thoughts are on their game and what may be going on in their recruitment. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Let's start on the international route, starting with the guy Hans Steinbach. What do you know about him? What can you tell me about him?
Yeah, so he's a very talented. Steinbach's a very talented player. He's actually having his best year right now in the German league. The highest level of German basketball. He started this year in the 3rd division, which is what I call the developmental league, experimental league. You kind of can do whatever you want. And so he actually averaged 25 plus points per game as a point forward. They played him in that role, developed in that role to gain him traditional, not so traditional on-ball skills as a big. And so he gained a lot from that. So moving to the highest level, of course, he had to transition into more of a rim runner, roll big. He's a heavy rebounder. He rebounds his ass off. He's got an extremely good motor, and I think that's going to translate to. I mean, I'd say right now it's very likely he goes to college. I don't know exactly where. Of course, nothing is finalized. It's so early in the process where with international kids you can't really get adjusted until it's like around June or end of May. But I'd say for sure, in terms of how he translates, I think it's a seamless translate due to his rebounding, due to his ability to roll as a big. He's got great footwork. He sees the floor well. He can really pass the ball. I think that's a skill set that goes underrated. I mean, for comparison, I think he's like a Daniel Theis who played in Boston for a few years. He's that kind of mold. So, I really like him a lot. I think he's a really good player.
And then another guy I want to ask about, Mario St. Superi.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but what do you know about him?
Yeah, Mario. I know that he's very, very loyal to his nation for Spain. And so I'm not going to say anything's off the cards, of course, but I would lean towards I don't see him coming to college basketball, truthfully. He's had opportunities in the past to go that route, and it's just something I don't really see for him, which is against, like, for example, it's like he gets to play in the top division of Spain. The ACB is one of the highest levels in the world. So I just, even with the NIL compensation, I feel like he's very, very not swayed to go that route. So we'll see, though. Of course, everything's open there. But I mean, if he were to go, I'd say he translates well. I actually am a little bit lower on him just because I don't believe he's as good as a creator. Especially if you talk about the SEC, it's one of the most physical and most athletic leagues in college basketball. And so you have to be, as a guard, even if you have good positional size, you still have to be able to create separation. And that's something he doesn't really do. He really relies a lot on screens and kind of just get into his spots off a big screening him. And so I do believe wherever he goes, it's going to be tough to kind of adjust through contact and create space. So, I mean, and especially in the SEC. So, I mean, and he can't really shoot the ball that well. He's more of at least out the dribble wise. So it's a hard sell, I'd say. But I mean, we'll see. I think it's honestly open if he's willing to go. But Based on what I've heard before, I'm not entirely sure that's the case.
The last guy I want to ask about from the international route is someone that's come up in our conversations in the past, David Mirkovic. What do you know about him? I know he's out of Montenegro. What do you like about his game? What are you hearing recruitment wise?
Yeah, not hearing too much. I think with a lot of the international kids, you don't hear too much early on, but I would say that I know he will go to college, which is at least a good start for that. At least, I think he's a no brainer college. But here's my thing. I think honestly, he translates a lot better to like a mid major. I'm not saying he's a mid major player. He's definitely a high major player, but I feel like in the sense of where his game's very slow paced and kind of the way a lot of teams will use him. I feel like you kind of have to control the offense around him. So in Kentucky's instance, for example, I guess Mark Pope in the sense is a little different than a lot of SEC coach and how he runs his offense. But again, it's a very physical and very athletic league. So I think for him, he's more of a slower paced big. He can handle the ball. He can pass the ball. He can shoot the ball. But he's very, very slow. He's extremely slow off the burst, off the dribble. And then part of the problems in the drag league this year, he couldn't keep up with quicker guards. And when you get a quick guard switching on him, he struggles. And so in the SEC, of course, a lot of quick guards in the league. So that's my one major concern with him. I guess in terms of fit, maybe Big Ten would make a little bit more sense. But again, he's a very, very talented player. And I know that at least in this sense, Kentucky would be interested. So, I mean, I guess we'll see in the next 2 to 3 months what really goes down in terms of that. But Kentucky works behind the scenes a lot, so we'll see. Really.
And then obviously the transfer portal isn't opening until March 24th, but we're already hearing about a lot of names coming up. So I want to ask you about three names over on the transfer portal side of things. All three guys have announced they're entering or have already entered. Starting with Trayson Eaglestaff, who KSR Plus has confirmed Kentucky is interested in. What do you know about him?
I mean, I've known him for like 2 years now at North Dakota. My brother actually really, was one of his biggest fans before anything really, and so I've stayed in touch with him. Eagle Steph, he's a talented, extremely talented player, and I'm very, very happy that he's had a lot of success and having those big performances. He's a 6'6" shot maker. He's not exactly a bursty athlete, which again, you look at the SEC, how much athletes in our league, but he can adjust on the fly. Like whatever position you put him at, he can score. He can score off the move. His biggest concern is going to be scoring consistently because he has a lot of games where he goes on fire and then he kind of fades away a little bit after teams pressure him, especially on doubles. And I would say another thing as well is like can he efficiently finish around the rim? That's going to be a big pressure if he can provide rim pressure. So I think there's obviously a lot to like, but again, it's the inconsistencies that I do believe really swayed him from being a really game changer player. But again, he's a great player, and I know at least part of the agency he signed with one of the best I'd say one of the best agents in the NBA scene. So I think in terms of how he will place him, I guess would probably be in his best interest. So we'll see what happens there.
And then you've got Obi Agbim out of Wyoming. He's supposed to be one of the most highly coveted players in the portal so far. What do you know about him? What do you like about him?
I love Obi. I love him a lot. I watched him a little bit in D2. I won't lie. If I won't admit that I was all in. I definitely slept a little bit on him while he was at D2. But as I watched him, obviously at Wyoming, he's just tremendous. He scores the most in the country off the dribble, which is very, very impressive to do off the dribble, especially in the league like the Mountain West, which Mountain West is very physical and very athletic. So he shoots it at a quality. It was around 43.3%. He's got a really high usage. So if you put him wherever school, he's going to have to demand a lot of minutes, a lot of ball placement for him. So in that sense, he's proven that he can play at that level, though. And
Hello, still there?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a tremendous player in terms of course. I think I was gonna say he's a lot more athletic than I think if you watch his film on Wyoming, because he didn't really have a lot of abilities to showcase his athleticism, but um, he had a lot of dunks in D2. It was around 33. Obviously, you go to a higher level, higher league in terms of athleticism. It's harder to get those opportunities, but I think he's a high level athlete. It's around like a 44, 45-inch vertical. So in terms of his ability to score out the rim, he was very efficient, and he's got a lot of twitch, a lot of crafty counters, and so I do believe it's not even just off the dribble. He's going to be very productive no matter where he goes, and so I also like his playmaking. I think it's a little underrated because he has so much um, pressure around him because he's the central focus of that offense at Wyoming that he draws a lot of attention. He's got the ability to distribute, and I think he's a game changer. He's going to translate wherever he goes, in my opinion.
You talk about him making the jump from D2. Kentucky's now going after a player that will be making the jump from D2 this year, Elijah Freeman. You put out a video of him a few days ago that's blown up.
Yeah,
What can you tell me about him?
yeah. Shout out Mike Gribb. Like, if you don't know him, he does a lot of Twitter stuff. He told me actually about him before I guess anyone really knew him. So just want to throw a shout out there. But yeah, Elijah Freeman's extremely unique. I've never seen a kid like this in Division II before. I mean, we've seen really good players in Division II, but not players that have clear NBA frame and tools. And so I think it's very unique that he landed there. And I thought, obviously, he's got great development. Lincoln Memorial is a great school, and he's gained a lot of development there. And I think, obviously, it's hard to project where he can go and how he can produce, especially talk about the SEC. It's so hard, but it is very good. It's not just Kentucky. I've heard Tennessee, I've heard Auburn, I've heard a lot of other schools too. And so he's going to garner a lot of high major buzz, I'm assuming, just based on how early it is and how unique he is. So um, I think he translates very well. I think the most important thing he needs to add is a more consistent jumper. He can shoot. He shot 44%, but he did it on 1.9 attempts per game, very low volume. If he can get that in a more consistent tone, I think we're working there. And I do think a lot of the ability to score on the ball it's going to get a lot harder to obviously create a lot of separation. He did struggle with physicality because he's very skinny on the frame, but um, he's super young. He's got a lot of time to develop. He's still, I wouldn't say he's an immediate impact, all starter kind of level player. But I would say he's slowly working that level, and I think it's going to take a time. Division I strength and conditioning, especially SEC, it's not. It's very serious, so it's going to help a lot in that sense.
Well, Arman, thank you so much for coming on today. We'll be following your work, especially as the portal opens next week. Before we close out, where can people find your work?
You can find it on Twitter at PDT Scouting or on Instagram at PDT Media. Those are my two platforms.
Sounds good. Well, thank you again, and hope to see you again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys for inviting me.
My final thought is the next time you're seeing me will be when the transfer portal has already opened. We got the transfer portal opening on Monday, March 24th. So by the time we have our next show, we should have a lot more news coming out about who Kentucky's going after. So be sure to stay tuned to that. Be sure to go and subscribe to KSR Plus, to subscribe to the KSR YouTube channel. Thank you to our sponsor, FanStake, and we'll see you again soon.